Hi there, welcome to Taurus-Some Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Taurus energy, and like usual on this channel we're going to do two rows. The top row is going to be a high vibe Taurus energy. The bottom row is going to be a more worldly, shadowy energy. Life's about learning lessons. We can all have people in our life who we feel haven't learned some of the lessons that we've learned in life. You in relationship to others, some of those people in relationship to other people in their life. We've all grown or healed or matured or gotten out of our ego to different degrees than some other people in our life. So in one way, that could be how we could look at this reading. Another thing is that we've all got our dualistic nature. We all can have our more hopeful, believing nature and want to live our more authentic life, being free from the things that manipulate us. But we can struggle in our more worldly nature because it does require, that we make choices in life, and we might have to kind of not align with certain people in our life or certain vices or ways of thinking, and might have to go through a period of feeling left out in the cold from some people if we were to live our more authentic truth. And so some people could be battling within themselves, but there's also going to be people in the world who are moving forward in life differently at this point in time. And there's going to be other people who aren't. And listen to your intuition about where you're at in the story in relationship to different people in your life, and listen to your intuition about other people. We all tap into Taurus energy. Taurus energy is Earth sign energy, but it does, I think, ultimately, in an energy of Taurus, have to do with, are we really walking our truth, aligned with our truth, taking action based on our truth, based on where we're at in life, emotionally, spiritually, emotionally, or are we trying to create an illusion that we're something we're not, maybe that we're more mature or stable or loving than we really are? Or are we just trying to create an illusion, wanting to be, why do we do what we do? Why are we in the jobs that we're in? Why are we in the careers that we are? Why are we in the friendships that we are? Is it because it's aligned with our truth and what really motivates and inspires us from love? Or is it more out of fear, insecurity, or codependency? So anyway, we'll probably talk about all those things in this reading, because the fact that people got free will. Some people harness high vibe Taurus, some people harness a more worldly Taurus energy, more motivated and inspired by the things of the world at this point in time. Other people might be more motivated to focus on loving relationships, find a balance between the things of the world that they want and loving relationships. And some people could be tipped out of balance in one way or the other, and some people are kind of shadowy. They just try to create the illusion that they're something that they're not, more high vibe, more mature, more healed, more capable than they really are, but want to create an illusion that everything's wonderful and they're wonderful. So let's get one more card for the bottom row here. Okay, well, it's kind of interesting. The top row's reading is extremes. It's also the reason why the reading came out. I think that because we have these lessons to learn in life, and life is all about learning these lessons, I think we kind of can go out to the extremes. We can let our heart run our life, and the other aspects of our life kind of go in the toilet. We could live from our mind, and we let our mind or our ego or defensiveness kind of run our life, and other aspects like our emotional nature kind of goes in the ditch because we're not paying any attention to it. You might know some people right now who you think are going out on the extreme edge, probably because they got some lessons to learn. I think we kind of go out to the edge of these things because we have to learn these lessons. And I think once we learn these lessons that are hurtful and painful and kind of cause chaos in our life, if we are willing to learn the lesson and incorporate it into our Taurus philosophy of life, because Taurus energy is like the Supreme Court in our own debate within ourselves. We debate, should I do this? Should I do that? In my high vibe, my worldly nature, what is my truth? How am I going to live my life? And some people you might know right now are kind of really going off in some way to learn some difficult lessons. And some of you have already been there and done that and already learned those lessons. It's like, yeah, no. I'm no longer indulging that kind of poor behavior in myself or others because I already went out there and I realized I get burned. And you might want me to go out to that extreme with you, but to move forward really victorious and successfully in life, it's about balance. Yes, I want these things of the world. I'm a human being and we all want stability and security and we'd all like to be in relationships. But am I going to disregard other aspects of myself and get so caught up in something of a way of viewing life that I disregard the other aspects of myself? Being a good ruler and manager of your life and being in high vibe Taurus energy where I have learned these lessons and now I work to maintain balance and justice and fairness within myself and in my life. My mind is important to me. My creativity is important to me. My emotional, spiritual nature, my heart, my stability, my security, the things I'm inspired by, they're all important. And I'm not going to let one aspect or two or three aspects of my life take precedent in my life and ignore a different aspect of myself. Like it doesn't matter because they all matter. But you might know some people that the reason for the bottom row is resistance. Part of life is being willing to change. Again, Taurus is like our philosophy of life. Well, we had a philosophy of life when we were 15 years old that was different than the philosophy of life we had when we were 18 years old, hopefully. And hopefully by the time we were getting closer to being a 21-year-old, hopefully we let go of some old ways of viewing life and our more immature ways of being to incorporate new ways of viewing life into our philosophy of life. But there's some people, they have some ways of viewing life or ways of viewing the world or ways of viewing relationships, ways of viewing the people they get in relationship with, ways of viewing themselves, things that they're codependent on. Could be their ego, could be their image, could be more about them that they're refusing to let go of. And so some people could realize that some people in their life are kind of going out to the extremes of some things that they're unwilling to let go of. This is a hand, and it looks like a female's hand, and the way I read tarot is that we all take action in the world and can present ourselves any way we want to, and that when we take action in the world is considered masculine energy. So when we see masculine cards in the tarot and underneath that card is the masculine card, we could be, the masculine card can represent that we're more aligned with our egoic nature, our worldly nature, our self nature. And we're unwilling to let go of that to align with our more hopeful, believing, creative, inspired, emotionally intuitive nature. Trusting our intuition and love to guide our decisions. Because we in our ego, oh, but I want to go do this. And we have a lot of lessons to learn about how we ignore our intuition. And I think our intuition was given to us as a gift to help guide us. But, you know, we've all had our intuition kind of screaming in our face, I don't think you should do that. I don't think that's a good idea. And we're like, yeah, but I want to go do that. And we went and did it. You know, we can all, our worldly shadowy nature, our worldly egoic nature can tempt us. And we think, oh my gosh, these things are going to make me happy. I'm going to go do that. And we might, at the time, not realize that we're kind of going out on the, we're tipped out of balance in some way, that we're giving too much precedence to our ego, being about ourself, trying to control things, and not letting love and intuition guide our decisions. And there's some people in the world who kind of gave up on listening to their intuition anymore. Because we've all listened to our intuition, right? And some of those things didn't work out the way we wanted. So some people are like, no, 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 no. Even if my intuition is telling me to go do that, and I want to go do that, thinking like, wow, that could, in a high vibe way, that my intuition is telling me I should do this, but I don't want to do that. That might be aligned with truth and love, and I could get hurt doing that. And I've already done that before, and it didn't work out. I'm not doing that anymore. Well, those would be people who didn't learn the lesson they were meant to learn from that life experience. And what I don't think they are going to realize is that they're going to repeat some patterns of thinking I can control things, or I'm the boss. I don't have to listen to my intuition. I don't have to get out of my ego. I don't have to get out of my more immature ways or defensive ways or bossy ways or immature ways or all about me ways, and I'm sure it'll work out just fine. And some of you have already been there, done that, and when you saw some people act in some ways that seemed to be where people were in these defensive energies or acting in ways that were tipped out of balance, you did the work within yourself to get balance within yourself. Let's go look at the bottom row. Trust, gratitude, creation. But then we have this card not showing itself. We could have all gotten in relationships with some people. We're all at our stages of life. We have lessons to learn. We're drawn and attracted to certain people. We could have trusted people. We were grateful to have them come into our life. We had some growing and healing and maturing to do, and we could have been drawn and attracted to some people who had some that were kind of on the same page as us. The only difference is people who have hope and faith and belief and love were hoping to maybe create something new, like, oh, we're going to work together in our friendship, in our relationship, at this job. And no matter what stage of life we're at, one person can be in their Taurus energy more about hope and faith and belief and love, and the other person could be more about fear or insecurity or codependency or doing life the way they've always done it. And we can realize we harness this energy differently, and we assume other people view life like we do. The high vibe loving people think, well, of course they're motivated and inspired by love. Isn't everybody motivated and inspired by love? And the other person's like, yeah, no, I'm not. And I assume you're like me. If someone else kind of wants to do the status quo and kind of live their life a certain way, where let's live our life like this, let's live life from our ego and our fear, or about indulgence or money or materialism, they assume you want to live your life that way too. So what's this card? Attraction. Well, we can all get in relationships with people because we're attracted to them, right? Also, though, in our Taurus energy, we could look at the attraction card as kind of like these things in the world that we're motivated and inspired by. And what we could be motivated and inspired by could be different. We could both get in a relationship and we're kind of codependent. And we both could hold back from taking more bold, brave, confident action in our life because we're in a life experience to learn some lessons and we're kind of going out on the extremes. Are we willing to let go of some of our fears, our insecurities, our more egoic nature, these things of the world that we want to indulge in, but we realize it's kind of tipping our life out of balance? We all could have gotten into certain situations in our life, but then as time goes by and we want to create something new and not just maybe make it about those things of the world or the things we're indulging in or the lust or something, to make it more, to take the relationship to the next level. Just like we grew from age 15 to age 18 and we let go of some old ways of viewing life to be more like an 18-year-old. And, some people want the relationship to go kind of to the next level. And some people are like, nope. And some people can marry people and have kids with people, but when it gets to be getting out of their maybe more defensive nature to be more authentically themselves and maybe really let themselves be open to love, some people are like, no, that's when I could get hurt. Kind of like I resist taking more bold, brave, creative action to really kind of give into my more loving nature. That would take me in a whole different way of being in relationship, because a more worldly, shadowy way can be where you kind of try to keep those things under wraps and living more from your mind than your heart, being strategic, maybe being practical, trying to control things without willing to experience, letting your more authentic, vulnerable nature out and willing to go explore that aspect. And some people are like, I want to be in a relationship. We're kind of like social creatures. We all like to be in relationships with people. It does provide us a sense of community and Taurus energy about stability and security. And it's nice to work together with other people. But we could also, the attraction card now is kind of reminding me of fiery energy, which this extreme card is about. Kind of fiery energy is what it seems to imply. Passion and dreams, and we all could have been where we hadn't really learned to tap into our more creative, intuitive, hopeful, believing nature to a degree. And one person in the relationship could be someone who likes maybe just to be in more deep, meaningful relationships, and someone else could be more like, well, I like to indulge myself in relationships, but I don't really want to kind of step out of my comfort zone and really open myself up more. I like to kind of hold back that, that's part of our human nature, is to be these creative, inspired, passionate, loving people, And some people are like, no, 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 no. That puts me in the danger zone. And I like to some people like to be in relationships and they're always telling themselves, I assume, that, if this weren't to work out, I could just walk away, because mentally is constantly telling themselves, I am not going to maybe get my heart and really emotionally invest in that way in this relationship. I can have sex with people, I can enjoy sex with people, but I'm not letting my heart get involved. And it can be really hard to let go of some people in our life because we wanted a dream to come into reality with them, but we could realize how their dream relationship or their dream life is more maybe them living more from their mind than their heart, maybe more about the status or the ego or the image, more about them kind of indulging themselves in a relationship versus having a more deep, meaningful relationship. And eventually we realize that, seeing the truth that is how they want to live their life. And if that's not how I want to live my life, even though we really would have liked to hold on to it, even though we really would have liked the dream to come into reality, if our basic philosophy of life and how we like to live life and where we like to go to maybe emotionally is different to the depths of how much we want to, if we want to be in more deep, meaningful relationships, or kind of keep it more superficial and shallow. If we want to hide behind our more defensive, egoic nature, and other people are willing to let their more authentic, vulnerable nature out to play in the world, we could realize that just the truth of how we want to live our life, what kind of drives and motivates us, and what we're willing to sacrifice, what we're not willing to sacrifice is different. So, some high vibe people already realize that I don't want to make my life more about the world or my ego or my image, or maybe staying in a relationship where I don't feel like people are letting their more creative, inspired, passionate nature out to play in the world. And I want a balance of both. And again, we can get drawn and attracted to people because we could think, I think this will work and maybe everything will go and everything will flow. And then we realize, oh, it's not going to flow. It's not going to change. And there could have been a lot of things I liked about this job or friendship or relationship, but some people could be unwilling to change. Some people could be unwilling to take more creative or inspired or passionate action in their life. Because high vibe energy is about listening, again, to love and intuition to guide the decisions you make instead of more of our fear or insecurity. And some people just aren't willing to do that. And some people have a way of viewing life. They want to live their life like that. They don't maybe even want to. Let's see, what is the opposite sign of Taurus? Scorpio. Okay. In Scorpio, it's emotional water sign energy, and in high vibe, it is people who want to go on like the roller coaster of life. We're emotionally complex human beings, and some people are like, bring it on, God. I know everything I go pursue won't turn out the way I want, but I'm not willing to live a more superficial, shallow life and make my life all about the world and the ego and the image and the money or the materialism or codependency or fear. I want to go explore the mysteries of life emotionally, and some people aren't willing to do that, not willing to let themselves go there. And that could just be outside their comfort zone. And we have to respect that everybody's where they're at. If we were more bold and brave and confident, to be more authentically ourselves, to be more independent of our fear and our insecurity, well, we do it. And sometimes we just got to see the truth that we can be loving and encouraging and supportive to people, but we can't make people deal with their own issues that make them feel safe and secure to be more open to giving and receiving love, being more authentically themselves, being more independent in the world, independent of their defensive nature, their fearful nature, their self-protective, self-interested nature. And some people, the way they view life, it is, what's the most important thing is the ego and the image and the money or the materialism, or them thinking they're living the life, indulging themselves in whatever way they like to indulge themselves. If that's drugs, booze, money, defensiveness, themselves, egotistical, having a certain status and image is the most important thing in the world. Who cares if I'm even in a relationship with someone I'm not attracted to? The most important thing is trying to give birth to these things of the world that I emotionally value. And that can be more important to some people than maybe taking action to grow and heal and mature themselves, to look at life from a higher perspective, to learn how to work with their more emotional nature, their more creative, inspired, intuitive, passionate nature. That could be like, that's all outside my comfort zone. And some people are kind of disconnected, whether they're male or female, from their more emotionally intuitive nature, and they're happy living their life like that. It makes them feel safe and secure, and maybe they haven't had much experience or allowed themselves to go there, and they don't want to. And we just need to see the truth of it. So what's going on in the top row? Pleasure, assessing, fruition. And then we have 2 cards not showing themselves. Self-love and change. So sometimes we get in these mismatched relationships where one person is kind of more about hope and faith and belief, and the other person could be more about the world and defensiveness or ego and image. And the high vibe people think, well, of course these people are going to go with the flow of life where you grow and heal and mature yourself and detach from some old ways of being and have hope and faith and belief and love. Sometimes loving people can be because we have our own lessons to learn. We can ignore our intuition and we can repeat a pattern where I'm going to try to get in a relationship with someone who does seem to be kind of maybe shut down, closed off, more trusting in themselves, trusting in the world, not about love. I'm going to try to change them. Oh, these poor pumpkins. I'm going to make them see the truth. That it's love that's the answer. Why, it can kind of be us in our ego. I'm going to change these people. Well, these people have lived their life and God has been working with them all this time, going through these things of life, and the high vibe people kind of came out on this side of life. No, I still have hope and faith and belief and love. And the other people went through life and they came out over here like, nope, I'm kind of more, I don't choose that in my free will. I choose to be defensive. I choose to be more about me. I choose to be maybe more immature. My own egoic nature, again, whether they're male or female, is kind of blocking me, and maybe I don't want to heal or grow or mature myself. I'd have to get out of my ego to even admit that maybe I have some healing, growing, or maturing to do. That's truly being empowered. But again, some people can try to control other people, shadowy energy. If you're not being truthful and honest and just and fair in a relationship, in shadowy energy, you're trying to create an illusion that you're maybe that type of person, but you're living more from your mind than your heart, and you're trying to manipulate people to get them to do what you want, to view you a certain way, to do things the way you want to do it, because you maybe don't want to deal with the truth, because the truth sets us free to live our life differently. But you'd have to be willing to get out of your ego nature to even be willing to look at life from a higher perspective. To admit that maybe you have maybe got some shadowy traits or characteristics. And some people are like, no, I don't even want to see the truth of it. This is how I've chosen to live my life. And shadowy energy can be, I want to stay in denial of the truth. And maybe some people think because they do have a certain status or image, or it's just their philosophy of life, that people should be grateful to be in a relationship with them because of some certain traits or characteristics or assets that they have. And that's just can be how they view life. There's narcissistic people in the world, there's self-centered people in the world, there's people who are full of themselves, people who have some of these shadowy traits and characteristics, and they don't ever plan to change. Changing our philosophy of life, Taurus energy is represented by the bull, very hard to budge, very hard to change. And as people went through their life and they debated within themselves how they should view life, some people came to the conclusion to live their life this way. They did the debate throughout their life. Some people came out over here, some people came out over there. And different strokes for different folks. We live in a world of duality so that people have free will choice. Who knows, if you were to watch any of the NDE, near-death experiences, if you go to YouTube and just type in NDE, it'll pull up all these videos of these people that have had these near-death experiences. Maybe some people, life is about us as human beings to learn how to figure this out and expand the consciousness collective. Maybe some people came to Earth and they agreed to before they even came here. I'll go be one of the stubborn, prideful people in the world. I'll be one of the immature. I'll be one of the hurtful. I'll be one of the abusive. I'll be one of the cold. I'll be one of the really into ego and image and money and materialism people. Because those people exist in the world. Other people get in relationships with them to help them get clear about their truth, and everybody has free will to decide how they want to live their life. And when we have people who are like that in the world, then other people can come into relationship with them to see if that's how they want to live their life or not. And it can be a catalyst because, again, there could be, we're all tempted in our worldly egoic nature. So, we want those things of the world, and if we meet people that have a certain status or image or attractive or wealthy or charming or charismatic or whatever, we can all be tempted by that. And so nothing's wasted. Even shadowy people serve a purpose in the world. For other people to decide, is that my truth? Or do I claim my own power to believe I can manifest my dreams into reality, and even though I might have fear about it, and there could be a part of me that wants to keep my own hopeful, believing, creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature kind of not given birth to, and make my life about these things of the world. If they get in relationships with people and they realize that that's what those people do, more out of their fear or their ego or their image or need to control or don't love and believe in themselves, the high vibe people realize I could stay in this relationship, but I might know the only reason I'm doing it is because I have fear of freeing myself and living my authentic life and kind of getting my divine inheritance. But that means I have to release my more worldly nature, get more balance within myself, work through my own fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, offer love and compassion and forgiveness to myself for the lessons I've had to learn and the mistakes I've made, and I have to offer love and compassion and forgiveness to the people in my life who made me and helped contribute to me viewing life a certain way or making me fearful of loving and believing in myself. And I'm willing to go through that period of feeling left out in the cold because I don't like feeling like I'm manipulated by all these things. And I'm going to focus on getting balance within myself, to know my worth and value, and appreciate what I bring to the table, and I'm going to go have a new beginning. I'm not going to live a life of illusion. I want, so this is a nighttime picture with the moon out where, we can live this life of illusion, but high vibe people want to live in authenticity and truth, where people aren't staying in relationships for ulterior purposes, more of fear and insecurity, and some of the other people are going to go on this journey, and sometimes some people who are kind of more worldly and shadowy, they could know that they're not really aligned with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature. And they could think, I just need to hire people who are like that, or get in a relationship or a marriage with people who are like that. Then it seems like I'm that type of person and I have that. that that's my truth. And it'll make me look like I'm that type of person too. Oh no, I'm not fearful or insecure or prideful or egotistical or materialistic. No, look at the person I'm in a relationship with. you know? But then that's like an unjust relationship. For someone who's not authentically operating from a foundation of having hope and faith and belief in love and in themselves and free to give and receive love, but yet they want to be in a relationship with someone like that. You know, the high vibe people are trying to give birth to something new, not repeat an old pattern. And the other people want to keep repeating this pattern. Don't you keep healing and growing and maturing yourself where you're ready to move forward in life differently, because I'm not willing to do that. That requires me to maybe go out and learn lessons in life where I have to maybe go out to an extreme that I haven't been to before. And I don't, and that because the opposite sign of Taurus is Scorpio, that would take me out of like keeping my emotions buried to connecting in with them. And I'd have to explore that phase of life and maybe quit making my life more about trying to control things or conforming to the world or more about me or more about my status or my image. And I don't want to go there. And then people realize they're in a mismatched relationship. Some of you already did. Some people are starting to realize that. You know, and we can all think having a certain status or image or trying to control other people in a relationship makes you like a boss or something in the world, but love doesn't try to control other people. Love is about treating other people the way you like to be treated, being just, being fair, and then you're empowered within yourself because you did get out of your ego. But some people, they have the free will choice to free themselves and be more self-empowered, because high vibe energy is about being independent from your more worldly, egoic nature, free to live your authentic life from a place of love. That's truly being empowered in the world. But some people get really caught up in the worldly things that make them seem powerful, want people to view them a certain way, or because of their fears or their insecurities, they try to control people in the world. And maybe try to get other people to be tempted more by their immature nature, lustful nature, greedy nature, codependent nature, even if it's just a friend or family member. I don't want you to listen to yourself and listen to your intuition and become independent of me. I want to control you. You're supposed to make me a priority in your life, even though I'm not someone you can marry or have children with, you know, because we're like family members, not in a twisted way. Just sometimes people have family members that I want you to live your life like I live my life. If there's other people you could go get in relationship with that are going to expand your philosophy of life and how you view life, and you could become more independent of this view of life or me, I don't like that. I am going to maybe try to manipulate and control you, tempt you in your more codependent nature, try to confuse you about the truth. Don't trust those people. Don't trust your own loving, intuitive nature. You don't go give birth to anything new, because this is how I live my life. And if you were to go live your life differently and have hope and faith and belief in yourself, well, that causes me some problems in my own philosophy of life, because then that kind of makes me question how I live my life. And I don't even, it gets me in my ego, maybe my inner conflict. And I don't even want the inner conflict. And the solution to, I think, to control my inner conflict is not to try to control you so you don't go live your more authentic life. And then sometimes we get in relationships with people who we could realize are more codependent on some other people in their past. And they're never going to become more independent of those people to create their own life. And whatever things manipulate them and people in their life, or the world at large that manipulates them, that they're codependent on for their sense of worth and value, or for they think for people to view them a certain way, where they can't go live their authentic life and be free of that to just go create their own authentic life. You know, because Taurus can represent like all these rules and regulations in our head. I've got to live my life this way. What would people say? I have to do this. I have to do that. You know, did anybody give them these rules and regulations? No, it's just what we've concluded in our own mind. What we think is the truth based on different things we've seen, different people and books and movies or whatever that have influenced us. You know, it's just like having twins where they live kind of the exact same life, and one can come out a more hopeful, believing, loving person, and the other one can be a more defensive type ego person, you know. Everybody has their own journey to go on in life and how they view life and their own challenges and things to overcome. But when we get in relationships with people, we realize that some things got a hold on some people, and that those people may never want to deal with the truth. And if we've seen the truth, that this is kind of shadowy, this is kind of, you know, shadow energy at the big picture is represented by the devil. All these things that can imprison us and limit us and restrict us and confine us and try to stop us from living our more authentic life, being more independent of our ego worldly nature. And we could realize some people in our life have other people trying to control or restrict or limit them, if not just their own fear and insecurities and things like that. We see the truth of it. We learn from that life experience. It's helped. We incorporate that into our philosophy of life for the next thing that adventure we go on in life of learning lessons. It's like, okay, now I've learned. If I used to be someone who always used to try to change other people, done with that. I only want to get more involved in a relationship with people who seem to be on the same page as I am. You know? Why am I going against the current of life to swim back and try to get some people who are holding on to tree branches back there of things I've already let go of? You know, if they're holding on, no, I want to stay here. I don't want to move forward because I want to be immature. It's like, well, I already let go of some of my more immature ways. I was at that stage of life at one time too. And there could be things that I like about people who are in that energy. Maybe it's fun and creative and inspired, but I don't really, you know, I've kind of, you know, you kind of have different ways of being immature and impulsive that don't kind of drive your life off into the ditch, you know. Why would I swim back to go get people who are defensive or pride? It's like, I've already released those things, you know. It's to go with the flow of life and believe that you're going to meet other people that are kind of on the same page as you. And the thing is, that does challenge us to grow and heal and mature ourselves. And I don't think we think of it this way when we do it, but it can be kind of a thing of us in our ego. And we could view that like, oh, I'm being loving and nurturing to other people who have things to let go of. It's like, it's wonderful to offer people love and encouragement and resources. It's another thing to, you know, it's kind of like us and our ego, where we're not in relationships that challenge us to grow and mature and heal. You know, it's one thing to offer people love and encouragement and resources. It's another thing to date them and get in more involved relationships and marriage with them. Because we're not growing to our full potential because we're not in relationships with people who are on the same page as us. So, and we certainly might have not thought it was because of our ego, but I do think that could play a part in it, or just people who were kind of more on the same page as us weren't around, and we had these certain things we wanted to manifest in the world. We just could have wanted to be in a relationship. We could have wanted to get married. We could have wanted to have children. And then we could realize that, wow, when I get in relationships with people who aren't kind of on the same page as me, that is when I could feel limited and restricted because they have a way of viewing life and living life and they want to live it like that. And I never maybe was kind of that type of person. And maybe now they don't try to stop me from being more authentically myself because that's not who they were even to begin with, but I maybe didn't want to see the truth of it. So then people listening to their intuition, and again, sometimes it'll bring out someone's shadowy nature. If you've been loving and encouraging and supportive to have people move forward with you in life, and you're doing this work within yourself and kind of behind the scenes doing this self-love, realizing I can't change other people. The only person I can change is me. Why do I maybe feel restricted and limited? Because, again, was anybody saying it? But it's just kind of like an inherent knowing. We kind of know how other people are, or at least we think we do, and we could be right. And we could think that they wouldn't like it if I were to be more authentically myself, or want to give birth to anything new or something. But first we do this work within ourselves to figure out, well, why do I maybe feel limited and restricted? I want to make sure I'm not blaming other people for that. So I'm going to do this work within myself to work through some of my own issues. And then I think when people have done that work within themselves, then they offer that love and encouragement to the people they're with, saying, oh my gosh, I did this work. I had some things in my ego and my fear and my worldly nature and things that were kind of blocking me from having more hope and faith and belief in myself. And now, I want to offer you these things to move forward with me in that way. And that's when people's more shadowy nature can come out and we realize they don't, and maybe our intuition was right, that they have this certain way of viewing life. They don't want to do things differently. And that could be why we were feeling oppressed and limited and restricted and confined. And it could get worse. And that's when our intuition in trust, gratitude, and creation, that life force energy is within us saying, if you feel like you've done what you could do to help people and being truthful, being honest, being just, being fair, being loving, being encouraging, then we just have to trust the process that some people, there's a time sifting the wheat from the chaff, separating the goats from the lambs, who is on the same page as me and who isn't, who is motivated and inspired. Everybody deserves to be in relationships with people who are kind of on the same page as them. And if some people want to live their life a certain way and we want to live our life a certain way, we're not driven and motivated by the same things. Our philosophies of life are different. Our end goals are different. We wish people peace. And, we're done in a way. We could kind of realize that people who don't want to grow or heal or mature themselves don't want to deal with the truth, unwilling to look at life from maybe other people's perspective. They have their perspective. And the thing is, when we're working together with people, it's to work towards the common goal. But sometimes some people are unbudging and unchanging, and they have their way of viewing how they thought that end goal was supposed to look like and act like and all those things. And you had a different idea of what that end goal was supposed to look like and act like and be like. And I think high vibe people try to come to a place of peace about it. I can't change other people. And if they want to live their life a certain way or view life a certain way, or they have the free will to do that. They just need to get in a relationship with someone else who is on the same page as them, and that's not me. So, some of you realize that you're moving forward, you're inspired, you're doing this work within yourself. You've looked at those things that could have drawn and attracted you to certain ways of viewing life, living life, people, because you don't want to repeat that old pattern. So it starts within you. I need to look at what within me kind of drew and attracted me to those people are living my life that way anyway, because I don't want to repeat that same pattern. I don't want to just go find someone else who's got that same viewpoint in life. And what was it within me that could have drawn me to it? And you're maybe going off on a journey of maybe in Scorpio energy, which again is emotional water sign energy, of exploring the mysteries of life, emotionally, intuitively, getting out of more about the ego and the image or the indulgence or the status or all these things that you thought defined you, to get to what really lights you up, what really inspires you from truth and love. And trying to find other people who you think might be on the same page as you on that journey in life. So what's coming up for you that you might not see coming? The Six of Cups, the Eight of Cups, because of the Two of Cups. And the difference between the 6 and the 8 is the 2. In our life, just like age 15, 18, 21, 25, we're at like a stage of life we align with. The Two of Cups I view as kind of like things that we align with in our life, and it can be significant people in our life that we were meant to learn lessons from. Because we could have all been at the Six of Cups can be about repeating a certain pattern and ways of viewing life. And we get in relationships with people because we could, in a lot of ways, have a lot of commonality, but maybe at a core foundational level of our philosophy of life and how we view life, we realized what we were aligned with was different. And we can get in relationships and they kind of want to keep repeating this pattern, and we're ready to move forward in life being more independent of that old pattern. To the Eight of Cups is going to the Nine of Cups and Pisces energy of listening to your intuition and love to guide your decisions. And some of the other people want to keep moving forward because they're happy repeating this pattern or this way of living life. Well, let's just keep moving forward doing that. And it's like, I kind of learned the lesson I was meant to learn from that pattern and way of viewing life. And now I'm ready to move forward in life differently, not repeating that old pattern. And let's listen to love and intuition to guide us to go to this next phase of life. And that's when we can realize some other people aren't ready yet to do that. And we wish them peace and love. We've all been there where we could have had people in our life that were ready to move forward in life, being maybe more bold and brave and confident or healed or mature than we were. And they moved on because they couldn't keep living life the way we were living life at one time. I've kind of outgrown that. I've kind of ready to go on to the next adventure in life. And the people, I think what this is also saying, this is a process. And initially we can maybe let go of some people in our life, but then we have to go through this process of loving and believing in ourselves and giving ourselves some of the things that we wish other people would have given us, and to heal and grow and mature ourselves. And then the Six of Cups can talk about, I've reconciled myself with the past, and now I'm ready to move forward and be independent of some people of my past. I've learned how to fill my own cup emotionally. And sometimes some of the relationships that we could have gotten into is because we were in more codependent energy. But sometimes some people in our life are happy we're in more codependent energy. And they want us, whether they're a friend, whether they're a male, whether they're a female, they're happy we live our life like that because that's how they live their life. The only thing is we didn't realize they wanted it to keep staying in that dynamic. We didn't realize that they weren't maybe willing to grow and continue moving forward with us. And some people like that dynamic. Some people like to be in relationships with people who are codependent on them. And maybe at one time, whether again it's a friend, a family member, a romantic relationship, maybe we're in more codependent energy, and we're looking to people to love and nurture us and encourage us, and they could have been loving, nurturing, encouraging people. But when it got to be where we had become more independent and we'd done this work within ourselves and we were ready to move forward for the relationship to kind of go to the next phase of life, that can be when the other people resisted because they could like that type of relationship dynamic. Well, you've changed. You're not looking to me to be this type of person in your life. And that's the role I like to play in people's life. And if you've now healed or grown or matured yourself and you want to move forward in life differently, well, that would require me to work through some of my issues to move forward with you in that new way. I think I'll just go find someone else who wants nurturing and loving and encouragement, and I'll play that role in their life until they learn how to fill their own cup emotionally and reconcile themselves with some issues in their past, and those people will move on. And then I'll go find someone else to play that role in. So it's kind of like people who, but it's kind of a little more shadowy. They view themselves, and they could come across and be in relationships like a loving, nurturing person, and that is how they view themselves. It's just that they never want to get out of the teacher to the student, the parent to the child dynamic. So that's where the shadow is. It's I don't mind you doing some work within yourself, but just to a degree where I then don't have to do work within myself. And sometimes it can be because that's just how these people, they're comfortable at that stage of life. They could have things in their life that they're not willing to detach from, and just would have their own issues to deal with, and they don't want to deal with it. And then some people just like a more imbalanced kind of relationship. And high vibe people want a more just and fair and balanced relationship. Initially, they could have gotten in it because they were used to being kind of in imbalanced relationships. But then you can repeat that pattern for so long, and then it's I do want it more equal give and take, and I did these things within myself. And that's when, again, sometimes people will try to do things that are hurtful or unkind or manipulative, and hoping we won't love and believe in ourselves to keep moving forward in life, and kind of want us to keep staying in this type of relationship dynamic that we've come to realize feels a little shadowy in some way or manipulative. And everybody works on it for a period of time, and eventually the high vibe people are I think they want to keep repeating that same way of being, and I'm not that type of person. I'm not that person anymore. And I'm maybe not as codependent as I was. Now I'm not looking for someone to play that role in my life. I'm looking for someone to move forward with me in a more just and fair or balanced or more authentic or deep, meaningful way. I don't like it if I feel like people are trying to manipulate me or control me or get me in codependent energy. And, you know, also learning to listen to your intuition, learning to want to be on people who are kind of more on the same page as you. So there could be some people in your life that you could feel the Six of Cups is Scorpio energy, that maybe they like more superficial, shallow relationships where they can play this role in people's life, but they're not willing to, high vibe Taurus, really walk the talk. I like to present myself as this type of person. I like people to view me this type of way. This is how I present myself in relationships. But again, they could be operating a little bit more from their ego, like the scales tipped in their favor a little bit. And when it gets to that point in relationships where they would have to do work within themselves, that's when the relationship can end. And there might have been some people that, with the pleasure card looking like, reminds me of the Eight of Wands card, you could have communicated with some people, and as you move forward, you're going to communicate with people, you know, that you think could be on the same page as you, but you don't know if they've done this self-work within themselves to love and believe in themselves, to heal and grow and mature themselves. And, you know, basically, if other people are taking action to communicate with us and work with us, then we'll find out if they're, by getting to know them and spending time with them, if they're really on the same page as us or not. And the people that aren't, we're no longer kind of in our ego about it, because we have learned to be more independent and give ourselves the things that we wish other people would give us. And if it's a romantic relationship, I might be attracted to people, but I'm not going to get in a, I don't want to repeat this pattern if I know you have certain traits or characteristics or ways of viewing life that I've already realized that isn't my truth. I need to find the people that have hope and faith and belief in their dreams. I don't want to repeat these old patterns and rule books. Well, this is how my family did it. This is what I've learned from these people. You know, how about we just let love and intuition guide us? Or are you willing to get out of the ego and the rule books and how people are supposed to, we think it's just people working together. In high vibe, the Six of Cups and high vibe Scorpio is kind of like letting your inner child nature out to play with love. Let's go on this adventure. Let's not have the rule book. How about I treat you like someone I love, that I want to work together with to bring a dream into reality? How about you treat me that way, and we authentically are that way, and we help each other work together to bring a dream into reality from love. What's coming up for some of the people who might harness a more worldly or shadowy Taurus energy has to do with this card that came out because of the Seven of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles. Well, some of the people who were kind of trying to manipulate or be kind of bossy or controlling or full of themselves or something, what they didn't see coming was that some of the high vibe people in their life would see through the illusion. The Seven of Cups can be where we get in a relationship with someone in Scorpio energy, and we could have viewed someone as being more independent than they were, more stable, more grounded, more emotionally mature and wise than they really were. But when it came to being more independent authentically, and in high vibe Taurus, walking the talk, that's when we saw through the illusion that really wasn't who they were. And they're shocked and surprised that some people work through their own illusions of their more worldly egoic nature and work through maybe some people in their life who were trying to emotionally confuse them about the truth of who they were, and that the high vibe people in their life became independent of them. and know their worth and value and love and believe in themselves. It's like, wow, when were you doing that work within yourself? I thought you were going to stay in this relationship. I thought you wouldn't let go of me. I could know that you love me. And because you loved me, I thought I could do these things that were kind of shadowy or manipulative or bossy or controlling and repeat some old pattern. I didn't think you'd ever get out of your more codependent nature and let me stay in your fear or your ego or your more materialistic view of life or your more want for relationship life or your more loving, being able to manipulate you in your loving nature or your lust or your greed or codependency. I never thought you would work through all of that to appreciate what you bring to the table and become independent of me. But you did. And some of the high vibe people in people's lives did do that. And the high vibe people, for one, you're not indulging these other people in their poor behavior anymore. Part of the reason you could have was because previously you could have kind of harnessed this energy in a more shadowy way. And they don't understand how you're doing this. And it's because what they don't get is that instead of harnessing that energy in a more worldly, shadowy way, you're harnessing it in a more high vibrational way. The Star card. We all can get caught up in the things of the world. We want these certain things of the world. We want our dreams to come into reality. And we could have certain people that we wanted those dreams to come into reality or be friends with them long term. But you ended up realizing that their idea of the dream life or the dream relationship or what they were motivated and inspired by, theirs could have been more about the world and ego and image, or it could have been more about themselves, like shadowy Aquarius energy. Everybody else should put aside their pride and ego in this relationship, but never me. I'm the shining star. I'm the most important person. Or it is all about themselves. And you realize their idea of the dream friendship, relationship, or life was different than your dream, and you're willing to let go of that dream and become independent of it. Because some people have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. Well, can't I be manipulative or bossy or controlling or all about myself? It's like, yes, you can. You're just going to have to do it with someone else. You have the free will to be whatever way you want to be in a relationship. You can have any screwy ideas about what it means to be in a relationship as you want. You just need to find someone who's willing to live in that fantasy land with you. High vibe people deal with truth and love and justice and fairness and character and integrity, authenticity. And I'm not willing to repeat that pattern. You can be in a relationship with someone for a long time, and then because something kind of causes them inner conflict about going to like the next phase in a relationship, and they'd have to look at life differently or look at life from other people's perspective or look at life from a higher perspective, step out of their more egoic defensive nature, that's when their shadowy nature can come out. And their controlling nature, their more manipulative nature. And you start to see that this person isn't acting in a just and fair, emotionally balanced, loving way. They seem to want me to keep moving forward with them, indulging them in some way, in this kind of more shadowy way of being. And I've already been in relationships with people who act like that. And I do not want to repeat that pattern. For some reason, they are repeating some poor past behavior, a way that people can act in a relationship that ends like, oh, I have been there and I have done that and I have known people who have done that. Or I knew you and you used to do that and I didn't think you were that type of person anymore. And no, I'm not doing it. I'm moving forward like this. If you want to come with, come with. I'm done trying to inspire you. Do what you want. I'm doing this. And some of those people are sitting here watching you move forward. Some of those people are attracted to you. Some of those people could be in relationships, new people that they're not attracted to. And they would like to indulge in a relationship maybe with you again, but they'll only get in a relationship with you again if you go back into that shadowy energy. And the high vibe people are like, no, I'm not doing that. And again, what they don't know about you, because these cards weren't showing themselves, you're not the person that you were before. For a long time, we can repeat patterns with people, and we could have repeated those patterns with other people too. Some people were hoping we'd repeat that pattern with them. Oh, I saw you before, go back to someone 5 times, regardless of what they did. Well, with some people, you could have thought that they were a much more stable, grounded, mature person. And when it got to be obvious that somebody was trying to maybe try to get you to indulge them in some poor behavior of something like maybe someone else has done to you, thinking you went in love and believe in yourself, you're like, boom. And you were out of there. Now, another thing the shadowy people might not see coming is there might be someone, you know, if they get in a relationship with another person who's a loving, hopeful, believing person, the same scenario is going to play out again. But they might have someone who comes in their life that does want to hold on to them, that also doesn't want to look at life from a higher perspective, could be more about the world and ego and image, or codependent, who tries to create the illusion that they're single or they're more emotionally mature and stable and grounded and independent than they are. But what they could be hiding from them also is I have my own ideas of what the dream relationship could be. And I might, you know, for some of the people in your life, you know, we reap what we sow. And if we get in a relationship from fear and insecurity, we're going to get relationships with people who are more about fear and insecurity. If we're looking for someone to nurture and love us, we might get in a relationship with someone who wants to be nurtured and loved. But the whole thing is, are we willing to put in work and effort to go to the next level? For some of you who know someone, though, who by worldly standards, in Hierophant, it's about, Taurus Hierophant is about having the status and this image and surrounded by luxury in life, looking like a shining star in the world. And yeah, we want those things, but you could have gotten in a relationship with someone who presented themselves as harnessing high vibe Taurus energy, like maybe you did, but they harness their Taurus energy in a more shadowy way. But for a long time, you could have worked with them and it seemed like the dream relationship until you realized that they were more about themselves in some way. Or it was more about the ego and the image and the status and how it all looked, instead of being more creative and inspired and intuitive and loving. Some of those people might get in a relationship with someone who is on the same page as them. And that might be when some of them are confused, because they could have thought, this is really what I wanted. And they could have realized when they were in a relationship with people who are more loving and nurturing that I really don't want to move forward with those people because that's really not my truth. You know, I really am more about these things and I want to be in a relationship with someone who's more about those things. And then they could get in a relationship with someone who is more about those things. And then they could be confused about why it doesn't quite seem to be what they thought it would be. Because again, in shadowy energy, we can go indulge in these things of the world and ways of viewing life that we sure are going to make us happy. But I think we came to this planet to learn these lessons, to realize that love was the answer. And the people who are aligned in all 3 water signs, Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, The people who were the loving, nurturing, hopeful, believing people have moved on. And they were sure these things of the world was what was important. They were sure these assets, traits, characteristics they had would make people want to stay in a relationship with them. But it's love that makes us want to stay in a relationship with people. And some of the people who want to have these new beginnings with people, but they reject their more creative, inspired, loving, intuitive nature, well, they can get people to get in a relationship with them because, they have some of the things that by worldly standards that the high vibe people have. We can all be attractive, we can all be charming, we can all be single, we can all have some stability and security and some power or influence or assets. But the more worldly people keep thinking just because they have those things, that should be enough, because some of them would stay in a relationship with people just for those things. But they reject their more creative, inspired, loving nature. And eventually people see through the illusion of who they are. It's kind of like you seem to have all these things that people, and present yourself maybe really well, or something that people view you a certain way, but it's kind of like the substance isn't there. The spark isn't there. The creativity, the imagination, the lightheartedness, the play, the fun isn't there. And some of these people might be confused as to why they're single and why some people don't want to be in a relationship with them. But it could be because they're codependent, they're bossy, they have these shadowy traits or characteristics. And even if the high vibe people are single, the high vibe people aren't creating an illusion about being stable and grounded and independent. They love themselves and they are self-empowered, and they're willing to go on this new journey and go, step out of societal norms could be the extremes. We're living their more authentic life. And then some of these people might wonder, why aren't they willing to be more independent like that? Why are they just settling kind of for these things of the world? But it could be they haven't seen the truth yet. So they have all these things of the world. They're just missing that last piece. And their ego nature could stop them from seeing the truth. There's more to life. And other people want more to a relationship than just these things of the world. And the people they do end up maybe having to work with are going to be people who are just like them, where it is all about creating this illusion, making their life about ego and image, and they're confused as to why it doesn't seem to be what other people have. It's like because other people are actually operating from love. You kind of create the illusion of love. I do the things that seem like I'm loving, but I'm not really loving. And then there's some people who just want to stay single. They're not willing to give up their singlehood because they think that living single and maybe indulging in whatever they want to indulge in, and anybody else who comes along, and some of them would like to be in a relationship with you, but you're not willing to be in a relationship with someone who just wants to indulge himself in a relationship. The Nine of Cups, the Eight of Cups going to the Nine of Cups, in one way it can be indulgence. The other way it's like, but I have dreams and wishes and emotionally deep relationships I want to be in. I'm not just looking to indulge myself in the world. And that might be what you like to do. And I'm not an option. Some of the shadowy people could view you as an option. That's what the Seven of Cups can talk about. But you're not just willing to be someone's option. Unless you're willing to bring a dream into reality, then I don't want to just indulge someone in a relationship. Yes, you might seem to be a very nurturing, loving person in a relationship, but if I have a dream of being in a relationship with people who are independent, not letting their ego or their selfishness run their life, then you're not on the same page as me. So there you go, Taurus energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.